don't have a lot of confidence in how it'll turn out. Who knows, knowing Steven. But I have a confession to make. Will it be? This is leaving a little bit too much up to me, and I don't know how I like that. All right, so my leg and my heel are done, and it's time to finish off this sock for the surprise sock along by Stephen West. Hello, my name is Emily Crow from Crochet Creations, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so excited. This is a part 2 for a vlog that I'm doing for Stephen West's new knit along, his surprise sock along. It's called Contrast Blast, and this is the first time he's done a mystery knit along for a pair of socks, which is really exciting because his shawls are just like too much knitting, a little bit too zany for me and what I would want to use. And so I thought, crazy socks, I can do that. I would love to participate in this mystery knit along. So that's what I am doing. I've got 2 clues done. Clue 1 ended right about here, and then clue 2 included the very tail end of the leg and the heel. So the heel flap and the heel turn. It is a heel flap gusset style of sock. And now it is time for clue 3. I haven't looked at it yet, but that's what I'm going to do right now. We're going to take a look. I'm going to come back and touch base after I've read through the clue and let you know what my thoughts are, and let's get started. Okay, so I just read through the pattern on my phone, and it looks like it's just the gusset is what we're working on now. And it describes it as being another like stair step slip stitch design, which to me sounds like this pattern is going to be on the top of the sock. And then on the gusset and the sole of the foot, we're going to have stockinette with some cables along the decrease for the gusset, which is really cool. I've never done cables or any kind of interesting texture along the gusset decreases. I've only just done like knit 2 together and slip knits. So this will be really cool to be able to try that new technique with the cabling. Even though cabling is not my favorite, I'm really excited to see how it turns out. The pattern is like different for different sizes, and of course it's different for the left foot versus the right foot. And it looks like every single round is listed separately, just about. So there's lots of instructions, so it's a little intimidating, but I think going 1 round at a time and just crossing it off the list when I finish will work out just great. Okay, I've only done 8 rounds, but I haven't gone to the cable yet. It's the very next round that we start the cable. Not having a lot of fun. I think it's because the high today was like 98. I'm like really tired and like kind of sweaty, feeling gross. So not the funnest experience to be knitting with this yarn specifically, just because it's more rustic, and for me, more rustic yarn is just less comfortable in the heat. But 8 rounds is a good start. I'm actually doing stripes on the gusset, so it has me do the contrast color as well. And I've been slipping stitches, and I think these stitches right on the edge of the gusset are going to be the cabling detail, but it means I have to slip 4 stitches at the junction of my needles. So again, like I had this issue with the top of my sock where at the junction between my needles I would get some like puckering, not quite laddering, but like definitely in that realm of like textural issues and like gauge consistency issues. So I have some puckering on top because of that, and I think I'll probably have similar issue along this gusset edge. I think it's really cool. I'm really excited to see what it'll look like with the cabling, but slipping 4 stitches at the edge of each side of the gusset, not fun, not easy to get consistent. So I guess we'll see, hopefully as I work some cabling that it'll look nicer and like with blocking and whatnot, but it's been a little frustrating on the edges, and like I don't have a lot of confidence in how it'll turn out. So I haven't decided if I'm gonna keep going. Maybe I'll do a couple more rounds just to see how the cabling starts to look, and then I'm gonna put this down. It's enough for today. I can always bring it to work tomorrow, and then if things get slow I can pick it up and work a little bit on it. We'll see. Okay, I just did 2 more rows because I just don't feel like it anymore. So I'm in the main color again, and you can see that little cable detail, and you can see behind it those pesky slip stitches. So we'll see, I guess. as I work it up more and as we block, if those will be super noticeable. In some spots, they definitely are, but what can you do? I think it'll be fun having the stripes. That cable detail is fun too, but my hands need a break from this wool, I think. And this pattern for the gusset, it's 44 rounds. I just looked and I've done 10. So that's almost a quarter of the way there. So that's a good chunk to get done for today. We'll see when I am back at this. Oh, and my daughter picked out a witch costume from Costco. She really wants to be a witch for Halloween. So that's why this is here. Hello again. You can probably tell I am very tired. So I worked at the hospital today. I actually got to leave a couple hours early. So I worked like a 10-hour shift. And then I work another 12-hour shift tomorrow night. So even though I worked today, I'm trying to stay up as late as I can so I can kind of switch my body clock over to being up at night tomorrow night. So I would have gone to bed like 2 hours ago. It's only like 11:30, but I would have gone to bed if I could have, but I need to change up when I'm sleeping for tomorrow so I can work again. So I'm staying up late, trying to keep myself busy. I'll be watching some YouTube, doing some knitting tonight, and probably getting a little bit more work done on this clue 3. We'll see how well my brain handles it. Honestly, it's not too complicated, so I think it'll be okay. Just do a little bit, not sure how much. And then I think the next time you'll see me talking to you, maybe when I'm working, because the next part about night shifts is if everyone's asleep like they're supposed to be, you can kind of get your work done and just be on standby in case there's an emergency or something. So hopefully I can get some time to maybe knit a little bit tomorrow night while I'm working, or like on a break or something. But other than that, just trying to get a few rounds done tonight, just trying to pass the time. I want to stay up until 3 a.m. is my goal. So then I can take like a 4 or 5 hour nap, stay up to enjoy time with my family. I do have family visiting in town, and then take a nap after lunch and get ready to go to work. So that's the grand plan. All right, the brain is fried. It's after midnight now, but I've done a few more stripes. So I probably did like maybe 8 to 10 rounds, which is great. So I'm almost halfway done with the gusset. And you'll see, again, issues that I pointed out in my last clip when I was working on this. Having the slip stitches, you can't even see it. Maybe you can see it better on this side. Yeah, right there. Having those slip stitches when there's 4 to 6, depending on where you are, it's just really hard to get the right kind of gauge and tension on those slip stitches so that you don't have them poking through on the side of that cable. But I think the cable looks really cool. There is some puckering though. It's really pinching in the sock compared to the stockinette on the bottom. So I'm not sure how it'll fit. Maybe I should try it on and see. I was worried about it being a little bit too loose, so maybe that's not a concern. I mean, you can't see it in a great way, but I think so far so good. It might be like a smidge loose, but I think that with knitting on my foot and the toe, as long as they don't make it super loose in length, I think that this could still be really, really wearable. Yeah, that's surprising actually. Looks like it's fitting pretty good. You can see that really cute cable detail. I love it. So good news, things are going well, but my brain cannot handle anything complicated. So I worked on this. I am happy with my progress. It is Sunday night right now. Technically it's like Monday morning, early morning. I have a few days before the next clip comes out, so I am doing just fine. So gonna put that down, gonna start working on like a simple ribbed sock or a simple stockinette, something like that, just to keep me awake. I'll see if I can watch another couple of YouTube videos tonight. Maybe I'll end the night reading my book just a little bit. I am about to start a new book, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. So I'm excited to get into this. I like to read right before bed. I love to knit, and knitting would be a good activity to do right before bed, but I tend to watch YouTube while I'm knitting, which YouTube is not a good thing to do right before going to sleep. So to kind of transition, I'll switch from knitting and YouTube over to reading my book, kind of wind down. in a few hours when I'm closer to my goal of 3 a.m. to kind of switch over my schedule for a night shift. And it's only the one night shift, so I don't have to do a great job at switching over. I just need to make it through one shift, and then I can just sleep a lot and recover. But we will see you another day. All right, night shift time. It's about 2 a.m. and I'm taking my lunch, so I thought now would be a good time to talk since no one else is in the break room. Yeah, it feels awkward to be talking to the camera when I'm here at work, but it's been, I can't say the Q word. If you work in healthcare or other like emergency services, you know what I'm talking about. It has not been a busy night. It's been really nice. I have a couple kiddos and they're both sleeping right now, which is great. It gives me a little time to knit. And this pattern, although it's kind of busy to work on, although it's been a little busy to work on, like it's not just stocking it in the round, it has not been too bad to work on for night shift if there's not much going on. Whereas during a day shift, if there's not a lot going on, I prefer a project that I can easily pick up and put down if someone needs something, if I need to help somebody, if there's emergency, etc., etc. But at least knitting keeps my mind awake, especially on night shifts, and it keeps me busy and content while I am kind of on deck and ready to help where I am needed. Sometimes I also read, kind of switching back and forth. I'm just trying to stay awake for night shift, honestly, and I'll show you the progress I've made. All right, here's the progress. You can see more of that stair-step pattern that I really like. I wonder if we're gonna do another band of this, if we're gonna have multiple sections of each type or whatnot. Who knows, knowing Steven. There's that cable detail, you can definitely see it coming together, and yeah, it kind of cinches things in, especially because of slipping stitches. Over the contrast color rounds, you will slip stitch 4 stitches over 4 rounds, and so it kind of cinches things together. So I'm not sure if anyone else has not experienced that, because I feel like that's kind of been very visible, especially there. I mean, you see it here with this texture, but it's not nearly as bad, the puckering, compared to there, also with the decreases. But I've reached my final stitch count, and I actually have fewer stitches now than I did on the leg. So we'll see kind of, I don't think we will revisit this texture after this part, but I guess we'll have to wait till clue 4 to see. I think I'm on round 32 maybe of like 42, so I don't have too many rounds. So I definitely think I'm just gonna power through this, try to finish this tonight. So my sock only has maybe like 10 or 12 rounds left to go, so I could definitely finish it tonight. I have a stockinette sock I can work on because I did not bring my size 0 needles to start the cuff of my second sock, which I have not started my left sock yet. I know I said I was going to start it in the last vlog and I did not, but I will probably try to start it this week, at least so I can get it going, because if I don't start it, then it may never happen. So I think before clue 4 comes out on Thursday, because it's like Monday night, Tuesday, early morning right now, before Thursday when the next clue comes out, my goal is to start the cuff for the next sock. So that should be coming up really quick before the next clue. But yeah, my goal is to finish this clue, clue 3, tonight. Hello, good morning. It is a Thursday, July 27th to be exact, which means it is clue 4 day for Stephen West's Mystery Knit Along. But I have a confession to make. I've not started the cuff for my left sock, which is a problem because if I don't start it soon, I will never start it. So even though clue 4 is out, I'm gonna make myself sit down, cast on, and do the first few rounds of the cuff for the left sock, so at least I have that started. I can start bringing that along with me. I can start working on it, but I do not think I'll finish by the end of the month. Who knows, but probably not. Though I do have 3 night shifts in a row this weekend, so depending on how my night shifts go, maybe I'll get a lot of work done on my second sock. Who knows? Anyway, it's been a great morning though. I woke up before my daughter, I started a little laundry, I took a shower, I made my bed, I did all the things, and my toddler is still not quite awake. So I don't know how far I'll get this morning, but I'm gonna try to fit in a few stitches and get started on this second sock before downloading clue 4 for my right sock. As a reminder, this is where we're at. Finished the gusset. So let's start on the next sock. Okay, someone told me that flexi flips have a sharper end and a narrower end. And that's true. Like, I had no idea. So, mind blown. Like, can you tell the difference? You can totally tell the difference. Oh my goodness. So, thank you so much to whoever mentioned it in my last vlog, because I had no idea that there were different tips on the flexi flips. So we'll see if this gives me a different knitting experience. Okay, half a round in and motherhood duty calls. So I've cast it on and I've done a half a round. We'll see how far this gets today. I've not made a decision about how far I want to get before I start on clue 4, but we'll see. I've been starting the clues not on the day, for the most part, that they come out. So it's okay. Maybe I'll just work on this today and then tomorrow I'll start my clue 4 on my first sock. We'll see. I haven't decided. Okay, I am well on my way to getting this cuff done, which is really good. And oh my gosh, thank you so much to whoever mentioned it in my last vlog that there's a sharp end and a more dull side of the flexi flips, because now that I know where the sharp end is, my knitting experience is way nicer because it's consistently using that sharp end as my working needle. So thank you again for saying that. Really cool. I never knew that before that person mentioned it. So definitely enjoying myself a lot more than the first time I knit the cuff for these socks. Today's winding down, getting ready to do things with my family, so I'm not sure if I'll get to my clue 4 for my first sock yet, but I'm just gonna keep plugging away at this cuff and maybe knock it out really soon. Hello, good evening. I am getting ready to work 3 night shifts in a row, so I am up at night. It is about 1 a.m. and I'm just kind of switching my sleep schedule over so that I have an easier time transitioning into working night shifts for this weekend. It is time to look at clue 4 for Stephen West's surprise knit along. For Stephen West's summer sock surprise thing. For Stephen West's surprise sock knit along. And I think this is the final clue, which is super exciting. So we'll get to see kind of what the sock will look like and see if things are changing after completing the gusset in clue 3. I've been working on the cuff of sock 2 for the past day and a half, and I just barely started doing the cabling on that. I've still got a ways to go, but at least I've got a good start on that. And now I really think I want to just crank out clue 4 so that I can disconnect my yarns from that first sock and not have as many strings attached, literally, for my second sock. Just make it easier. It's just hard to have both socks attached to my balls at the same time. And so I'm gonna set my sock aside and I'm not gonna worry about that second sock. We're gonna tackle clue 4, and since I'm staying up tonight until at least 4 a.m. is my goal, we are going to get a little bit of stitching done, hopefully. Let's take a look. Clue 4, here we come. 46 rounds, unless you have a shorter foot. So we'll see, I guess. This is really where the length will change depending on the size of your foot. And it looks like there's certain repeats that you can stop and move on to the toe instructions for. So that makes it easier to adjust the length. Okay, what size am I knitting? I can't remember. I think I'm knitting size 2. That's the hard part about stopping and starting like this, is some things fall out of my brain. Ooh, we're gonna do more cables. More cables and slipping stitches, so we'll see. This will be interesting. It looks just like in the gusset instructions. There's like a jillion rounds all written out. for like different sizes, depending on whether it was the right foot, the left foot, but like every round was written out, sizes were separated out, and it was like really hard to read. It just was kind of overwhelming to look at, but just take things one round at a time, and it's not too much to stress about. Just hyper focus on what you're working on and everything else will come. It really isn't too difficult when you're only looking at each bite-sized piece of instruction at once. And it looks like you'll be doing a lot of the same things that you have been doing with cabling and slipping stitches and whatnot. Foot section 2, wait, I thought that this was, foot section 2 sounds like it'll be the toe. Will it be? How many rounds do I have available to me? Okay, so it looks like in section 1 of the foot, I can stop at any time at the given repeat to move on to section 2, which is a different texture. And I can do part of section 2 before moving on to the toe, and it tells me at what length to start my toe. So I can do partial section 1 and then partial section 2, or it looks like I could do all of section 1, and if that's long enough, I can just skip straight to the toe. Like, I can really customize, so maybe if I'm not liking section 1 as much, I'll do more in section 2. I don't really know. Like, this is leaving a little bit too much up to me, and I don't know how I like that. 2 different foot sections. I guess we'll see how far in section 1 I can go, and whenever I want to start section 2, I guess, and how much of that I want to do, because I'm not sure. I should try on my sock and kind of gauge how much farther I think I need to go lengthwise in the foot, because I honestly think it's not as much as typical, because the sock in general is slightly loose on me, so it has a lot more give available in the length compared to the width. Okay, nothing crazy going on with the toe, so once I get there I can breathe a little easier. Okay, and it looks fairly similar to the kind of wedge toe that I do normally, so it shouldn't be too difficult to gauge when I'm ready to start the toe. Here we go. I'm gonna throw on some YouTube so I can be watching that while I am getting started on section 1 of the foot, and we'll see how I like it. I think, yeah, the cable should be fun, so I hope I enjoy that part, because I like how it looked on the gusset. Okay, actually just putting the sock on, because I didn't do that, I was working last time I was working on this, I'm like not that far away from starting the toe, so I don't think I'll use very many repeats of either section. Crazy, I'm not that far away. That is so exciting. I have worked a little bit on this section 1 of the foot, and I did not do very much. I've done 16 rounds out of 46, and I think I'm ready to switch on to section 2. So like, it's not like I did very much lengthwise, but I'm gonna have to start my toe like somewhere around here, so I don't have very much space left, maybe only like an inch or so for this next section. I definitely need to figure out, I could do another like band of this like purl row thing, but I think I might switch to section 2 so I can have a little bit of section 2 before the toe. I don't know, I need to take another look at it, but I'm a little sad because with only like an inch of this stuff, you can't see too much of the cabling. Technically, it's like slip stitches that basically just go diagonal because of the way that you do the cable is just moving over, kind of like what you had up here, how it just kind of zoop, goes over like that. So similar thing happens down here. I am back, and it's only been like 2 minutes, okay, maybe a little bit more. I was looking through projects on Ravelry to see what other people did, just because I was not quite sure which look I would prefer with the slanty thing that's going on right now, or that last, Alfred, excuse you, with that slanty bit that I've been working on, or the next part that's like foot section 2. And actually, I think I'm just gonna keep going with this slanty bit, because with only like an inch, it's kind of hard to see, so I want to add a little bit more so you can see this slant a little easier. And it seems like, just at first glance, most people just did the slanty bit. And then the foot section 2 is just like a, in case you still need more length, you can add more length by doing this type of pattern or something very similar to this from what I was looking at. So I think I'm gonna do that, and I'm just gonna keep going with the slant because I've been enjoying it. So we'll see how many rounds left I have before I start my toe. I think I'm gonna aim for another like 16-ish rounds. Wherever I end up, where I finish at the correct spot after a pearl stripe of the contrast color, then I'll try it on again after I do a couple more stripes and kind of see how we're doing, because I think it's almost toe time. Hello, hello, we are back to knitting on night shift. I feel like that could be a fun little like vlog, knitting on night shift. Anyway, so I am on the toe now of my sock. So I had guessed last time I was working on the sock last night that I could do 3 more repeats of the like pearl bumps, and that is exactly right. So that's what I've done. Ta-da! And you can definitely see the diagonal now, which is fun. And I have a ways to go on the toe, but I've just started. And actually what's really cool is it's got a texture I didn't notice when I was first looking through the pattern. It's like a broken rib. I don't exactly know the difference between like linen stitch, seed stitch, moss stitch, anything, but it's something similar to that. So that's like a really fun texture we've got going on. We'll see. I kind of want to just like plow through this and finish the toe today, and then I can work on my second sock some more, but we'll see. So happy that we're almost done. It's about 2:15 and did all my big things today. Took a new admit and they're doing great. So hopefully I can get some time to finish this sock and maybe get some reading done too before I switch back to doing more knitting if there's time. I don't know, but it'd be great to finish the sock tonight. And then I haven't decided for this vlog if I'm gonna just end it there or if I'm gonna keep working on my second sock. I think I might keep working on my second sock until the Wednesday after the clue came out, maybe. I don't know, we'll have to see. I also need to look into things and see if there's like somewhere I need to submit that I like finished this for like prizes, or even just for Steven to keep track of how many people participated or whatnot. I've got to look into that too. But yeah, so happy that it's coming along. This is so zany. The stair step is really fun though, and I really like the heel flap, and it's been a good experience. I'm glad I did it so far. I'm not sure how much I'll wear them, but I guess we have to wait and see until I finish the second sock and see how much I wear them. All right, so my sock is blocked, sock number 1, and you can see very clearly it is loose, like everywhere. And I know that part of that, the slip stitch cabling will definitely cinch it up, and so there's extra fabric there. There's just extra fabric. So I'm thinking I might try and throw this in the dryer because this is a BFL sock base. I can't even remember if it's superwash or not. If it's superwash, it won't shrink very much. If it's just a BFL, like a natural BFL, then it could shrink a lot. So I'm gonna go cautiously, and I'm gonna throw this in the dryer for just a few minutes and kind of see if maybe it'll be a little bit tighter. All right, so we're gonna close this video out here. So I did put it in the dryer and it did not shrink very much. I think it might have gotten like slightly tighter, but also drying the yarn, just air dry, can make it a little bit less floppy. So I am not sure. Here is my finished sock. I will have to model it for you on my foot, so I will show that as well. This is a right sock, sock 1. And okay, my favorite parts. I love this stair step. I think it looks really, really cool. And I like that we did it again on the top of the sock for this part. So I'm glad we did that. And I really liked the heel flap and doing that kind of speckly pattern. I think that the movement in this end of the foot is really interesting. I also think that this bit, it's interesting, but this is probably my least favorite part of the sock, was this like woven pattern that we did. I also like this little cable detail at the very end of the cuff. Overall, it's a zany sock. It's a Stephen West pattern. I think I'm gonna enjoy wearing these, but they're not necessarily the look that I like to wear. I think they'll just be a fun sock to wear at home when I'm getting cozy, putting on my warm knits and snuggling on the couch kind of thing is kind of what I envision for this pair of socks, especially because they are a little bit loose for me. I typically don't work with this high of stitch count, and I thought that because of the color work, we might be doing more Fair Isle, which would kind of cinch it in. We did not do as much Fair Isle as I thought. We did a lot of mosaic knitting. So it didn't cinch in the sock as much as I had hoped, but I also don't think that the next smallest size would have been the best fit for me unless I went up a needle size. I don't know. And I don't necessarily like this pattern enough that I want to knit this pattern again with like a different combination of yarn and gauge and stitch count and whatnot. I think it was fun to try it out, and I am very sure I don't want to do any of the shawl knit-alongs, so this was a really fun experience to try out. My second sock, I wish I'd done them more in tandem, but because of going on vacation and whatnot and other things that I had going on, I didn't prioritize it, and that's okay. This is where my second sock is. I'm maybe halfway through the leg part of clue 1, so I've got a ways to go. Long way from being even halfway finished with this sock. I figured I would finish this video now instead of trying to finish the sock, because who knows how long this will take. I'll just kind of whittle away at it. Hopefully I can get that done this next month in August, so I can have a finished pair of socks before cozy season. Well, it was really fun to participate in this make-along. I have not really been involved in the online portion of the make-along and in interacting with other makers, seeing what everyone else is working on. Partly that's just because of my personality. I'm already kind of overwhelmed by social media, and so I didn't necessarily want to be inundated with all of the Ravelry posts about it. But it's fun to look back on it now and go through the group and see other people's color combinations. Now that there's no spoilers for me, I'm on my own time. I can just kind of look through as much as I want and be done with it. And there's some really cool color combos that look really, really good. So I definitely encourage you to check it out, find that Ravelry group, and take a look at the projects people are making. As for this yarn choice, I think that I don't like this base. It's a BFL and nylon sock base as much as a merino sock base, but I think part of that is because of what I'm more used to. I'm more used to the merino base. Also, I think this color combination was a really, really good pick, very high contrast, and I love this raspberry cordial color by Woolberry Fiber Co. I did see when I was looking through some posts that some people did do like a self-striping yarn, ombre, some variegated. They needed something very high contrast in order to make it work, but lots of people were able to make it work. So I would just encourage you to find something that's super high contrast, like a really, really light tonal, and then a really, really dark variegated, something like that, so that there's still very high contrast between all the colors within that palette that you're working with. And I think you could totally go for it. So let me know down below if you participated in this sock along and how far along you are, if you did 2 at a time, which was the smart thing to do, or if you are still trying to work on your second sock, just like me, or if you're just taking your sweet time with the first sock and just embracing your pace. I love to hear your experiences and what you're working on. And also let me know if this is the kind of pattern that you would want to work on outside of this knit along. Do you want to make this sock? It's really funky, it's really zany. It's a fun way to experiment with slip stitches and doing some mosaic knitting if you are not familiar with that. So this might be a fun way to just trial out a bunch of ways that technique can be used to create different visual effects. So yeah, let me know down below if you've made this pattern or if you hope to make this pattern. And also if you like this vlog, this was really fun to knit and it was really fun to share my journey with you along the way. And so I hope to do something again like this with other knit alongs or other project vlogs where I just have you follow along with my progress. So if you like this type of content, let me know down below so that I can keep bringing it to you. And until next time, happy making. Bye!